Bama gang. Because we always hit the nail on the head. So check this out, my Miami Hurricane fans, my Florida State Seminole fans, and of course, some of my Florida Gator fans that was tuning in to this game. Miami won. Miami won. Is anyone surprised that Miami won? I can tell you one thing, though. We didn't win by no goddamn 3 points. We did not win by no goddamn 3 points. We didn't win by 7. We didn't win by no close damn game. We won by 22. The spread was 21. So if you don't like a blowout, if you wasn't satisfied with that win, that's tough. You ungrateful. You ungrateful. That's tough. You're very ungrateful if you can't be happy with a 22-point victory. Now, this was supposed to be a rivalry game. Apparently, Florida State didn't get the memo because they didn't show up. But let's not be surprised. Let's not act like we're surprised. We've been seeing this from Florida State all goddamn year. They trash, Basuda garbage. They should be what are they, 1-7? They should be 0-8 right now. 0-8. Cal, that's tough. You gave it up. You gave it up, Cal. Now, y'all do me a huge favor. As you come on in, hit the like button, subscribe to the channel and all that good stuff. That's kind of tough. That's tough. I'm looking at the chat right now, and I see two Gators. Sam, what's going on, my guy? Matthew, what's going on? As a matter of fact, I'm going to do this early. I'm going to put a link in the chat for any of you guys that want to come on, give your thoughts and opinions on what you saw, basically, between the Miami Hurricanes and the Florida State Seminoles. Miami looked good. Florida State looked trash. I think it was expected. I think it was expected going into this one. Crazy. I listen to Florida State fans talk about all these close wins that Miami been getting in the ACC. They've been talking about these referees and all this blah, blah, blah. And then, sure, here you guys come. Could have been the whole, solution to all this referee and all these close games. You could have came down there and beat the bejesus out of us to shut up all that talk. But what did you do? You come down here and you became a victim. You became a victim. You became exactly who we thought you was going to be when you come down here. That's tough. That's tough. Man, 36-14. Is that not good enough for you guys? Is that not good enough for you guys? Man, that's tough. Sam in the building. Sam,
you can hear me?
Oh, yeah, I can hear you.
What's good, T2? It's been a minute.
Man, what's good? What's going on, man?
Work.
As an outsider, you a Gator. How you feel about that game?
This Miami game versus Florida State?
Miami versus Florida State.
I was a bit disappointed. I wanted them, just keeping it real, you know me, I wanted them to whoop their ass like y'all beat my Gators. I wanted it to be a skull dragon. I ain't gonna lie to you.
Technically, it was kind of the same.
No, hell no.
Because we gifted them.
Easy. That motherfucker had 400 passing yards on my Gators. He only had like 200 on them.
Nah, I can tell you this. Florida State do got DBs. I knew going into this game that we was going to win this game running the ball. Florida State got DBs. If you watch Florida State this year, nobody necessarily blows them out passing the ball. They always been running the ball. Like Brett Key said at the beginning of the year, run the ball. That's what teams do to beat Florida State this year. They can't stop the run.
I mean, they really couldn't stop much of anything, if we're being honest, but,
Yeah, I mean, everybody was expecting us to drop 60, 70 on them and all that. That would have been nice, but I knew going into this game.
I think the only way that would have, not even a 60 piece, but the only way that game would have got, like, truly out of hand is if Cam Ward would have did a lot more scrambling than what he did. I'm not saying he should have, nothing like that, but, like, I think it was pretty obvious that, if he wanted to be more explosive with his legs, he definitely had the opportunity to do so. But I think they took more of the safe and not even conservative, but just y'all did it the right way. Y'all didn't do too much. Y'all didn't get anybody really injured or anything in this game. Because, rivalry games usually, somebody gets hurt, whether it be the winner or the loser, and y'all kind of got out of there relatively unscathed. So
I ain't going to lie to you. Even at the end, when we knew it was a victory, but we kept playing and kept trying to run the score up and everything, I was kind of like, in my mood, like, damn, this is time when people actually get injured. I was like, take the victory and
And
just
get out
call
of
it
there.
a night.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking. That's why I said that.
But when he
Because
scored again, I was like, man, fuck all that shit. Put about 30 more points on him.
I kind of think, if I'm being honest with you, just based on like the eye test, in real life, I kind of think Miami could have, if necessary, scored another touchdown or two, if
Oh yeah,
necessary.
oh yeah.
Because I'm being honest with you, I think Florida State is the only offensive line that's worse than my Gators in the country right now, and they.
There's some. Oh, I got some numbers for you. I got some numbers for you. Hold on.
I know you do because you've been building this shit talking list for the in-state teams
I
for a
got
little
some
minute.
numbers for you, man. So Florida State offensive wise. So scoring offense, Florida State is 132nd in the country.
You say on what?
132nd
No, what of what? Like I didn't hear the what
scoring
part.
scoring offense.
That sounds good.
No, they don't.
Yes, it does. For Florida State, it does. I love hearing that.
Okay. Because
I'm
you know
pretty sure
what?
you like hearing that too.
They're 132 out of guess how many?
132.
133.
Oh, my bad. My
So
bad.
there's only one team out there, and I should look it up, but there's only one team out there that's worse than them.
I tell
So,
you what. I'm gonna give you a fact, a statistic. The reason why that I said that's good. My Gators defense was ranked 132nd last year.
damn, that's
I'm
tough.
Go look it up if you want. We was yes. That's why
Damn.
when you said that, I'm like, yeah, that's good for the other team.
Okay, I got another one for you. Total offense,
They might be
100 131st.
wow. Oh, okay, time out. You got to go look at these teams that's worse than Florida State on offense. Who? Who?
I'm
Who
gonna
is
have to look
behind
all
them?
that up. I'm just looking at their stats right now, though. Third down offense,
I think they the worst in the
131st.
country, ain't they?
131st.
Yeah, I know they was talking about it. They was like they are, at least in the ACC, they're the worst team in the ACC in third down conversions and one of the worst in the I'm talking about SEC, ACC, and one of the worst in the nation in third down conversions. But I mean, who they gonna sue? Mike Norvell?
Oh, I got those. I got some Norville numbers for you too. Trust
Oh,
me.
hey,
But
listen.
Russian offense, 130th.
Damn, are they really dead last in almost every category for real?
Almost every category, but except for this one. I don't know who them 30 teams that's they better than, but passing offense, they're 101.
You know, you got like Air Force and Akron and stuff like that, where them teams like that probably behind them, or Toledo or somebody like that. It ain't. I don't think it's
Yeah, it
nobody
gotta be. It
because
gotta be.
who was, I don't know what to say.
Now, not only did we blow them out, beat the brakes off on them, they posted the numbers that I needed to see. Mike Norvell's buyout. So, according to them, for those of you that's wondering, here's Mike Norvell's contract. Buyout is at 64 million right now. If you fire him right now, you pay him 63 million, close to 64. If you wait till the end of the season, it's 54.4 million. After 2026, 45.6 million.
Keep them.
After 27, 36.8 million. After 28, 27.7 million.
You
After
know,
29,
I gotta say something to
18.5
you,
million.
T2Y. And yeah, I know you don't remember this because we talked about we talk about a lot of stuff on your channel throughout the course of the year or whatever. But I want to say not around this time last year, but sometime last year, I got on here and we was talking about this exact moment. Florida State not looking nowhere near as what they did last year. And I think the exact words or exact phrase you said was, mark my word, Florida State fans, when y'all end up going 0 or 2-10, don't say I didn't tell you. Don't say T2I didn't tell y'all that all of what y'all had this past season was a facade. And I'm gonna tell you why I remember that. Because I laughed at that. You said Gator fans, I wouldn't laugh yet because Miami gonna push your teeth in come week 1, and I laughed at you for that. Everything you done said from that point has come true. So I can't do nothing but believe what you say in that sense right there. But I'm not lying. Everything that we done talked about Florida State has come true. Everything. Everything.
I must say this. I troll a lot on this channel, but my trolling has a lot of football facts behind it.
I know that. I trust me. I get that. I get that.
Like, for instance, people like to compare teams' wins against other teams and how they played and this and that and third. I knew playing Florida State, we weren't going to pass the ball as much because Florida State sucks against the run. And if I know Mario, he's going to do what's hot. So if running the ball is what's hot, that's what he's going to take. That's what he's going to do. If passing the ball ain't, most of our receivers weren't hoping half the time. Florida State got good DBs. I can say this. If Miami had some of them DBs that Florida State had, right now it would be a total domination.
Really? You feel that way?
Because our secondary is a problem. Now, granted, this game we had a good defensive game. It might not look like that because people are so used to us throwing up points on offense so much. But if you look at the stats, we had a great defensive game. And that 14 points that Florida State got, that one of those touchdowns was gifted.
Garbage. Yeah, that's garbage
time gifted. Because they only converted like three third downs, if I'm not mistaken.
Hold on, wait a minute. I don't think did they convert a third down?
Three of them. I think 3 of them.
I could have sworn the commentator said they was open, or at least up until that point that I was watching. It didn't. I know you saying they got some good DBs, but I mean, kind of watching them throughout the season, I would argue and say they only got a few decent good DBs. I don't think they secondary is as good as kind of people are saying because I'll
just say they was on point against our receivers.
I give you that because Cam Ward was a little frustrated, and that was the first time I ever seen that this year.
Now, when you look at the total offense, the team stats, Florida State had less than 250 yards in this game. They had 248. Miami 445. Pretty low outing for Cam as of this game or whatever, Didn't go for over 300 in this one. Didn't even throw a touchdown in this one. He caught one, but he didn't throw one. Now, Miami had 31 first downs. Florida State only had 14. You can't win ball games like this. Time of possession, Miami 35 and 23. Florida State 24 and 34. You're not even winning the time of possession, so you can't win. No turnovers in this game for neither team.
I mean, shit, they couldn't throw the ball. They couldn't get the ball off.
Now, Florida State, man, I don't know where they go from here.
I do.
I really don't.
I do. This is what they do. I'm tell you, listen. I'm gonna tell you exactly what Florida State do. They're gonna keep Mike Norvell because if they get rid of him, he gonna sue them, right? They're gonna keep Mike Norvell.
That buyout too big.
I know, and they ain't got no money, even though they keep pretending like they do. They're gonna keep Mike Norvell, and not only are they gonna keep Mike Norvell, they're gonna hit the transfer portal even harder than they just did this past season and pick up a shit ton of 2 and 3 stars. Because who's gonna want to come to Florida State now?
My biggest question right now is who is Norvell gonna fire? With seasons like this, somebody's getting fired.
Yeah, so the big name, as you already know, is Atkins. I kind of said the same thing too, but
I heard Ron Dugan name being thrown out there too.
Yeah, him too, but he's gonna have to fire more than one person. I can tell you that much.
they definitely want Randy Shannon up out of there.
But my biggest thing with Florida State, if outside of football, has always been the recruiting part. I think it spoke volumes when they went 13-0, quote unquote, and the next season the recruiting didn't even increase or improve, not even a little bit.
I try to warn them about that. When you
have
a team where you just play the transfers, this is what happened.
Yes. And the thing is, all the Florida State fans that I know in my life was talking trash. Man, we gonna do this, we gonna do that. And I was like, hey, I mean, everybody that was scoring touchdowns and getting stuff like stops on defense and all that stuff, they didn't play for Florida State for 2 or 3 years. They just came in. They were already developed. They were already built. They literally just picked them up and just said, "Y'all go out there and make this team look great in this uniform."
Now
That's it.
here's another thing that's kind of crazy. Florida State right now got more decommits than they got wins this season.
Yeah,
Last
and
night they lost one of the best thing they had going.
that you talking about C.J. Wiley? Yes,
Yep.
and I'm gonna tell you another thing, and I hate to say this because he kind of trending towards Miami. That 5-star offensive lineman from Jacksonville.
Talking about Solomon.
Yeah, I'm from Jack. I live in Jacksonville. I'm from Jacksonville, so that's why I say that. I know that. But yes, I mean, even though Florida was pursuing him heavy shit, I don't think he would come to Florida at this point. I can't say no, I can't say yes, but it was a lot of conversation about him going toward leaning towards Miami. Now I wouldn't say that's 100% or he's going or anything like that, but when everything that's been going on like how it is now, that's kind of like how stuff when rumors pop up and stuff, but they can already been saying stuff like that with him, like the
I
top
could
players
say
that they
this
do
too.
have.
With the recruiting part of it, that dude, my coach, my head coach, he's methodical, man. Because at the end of that press last night, he made a statement that even Florida Gators and FSU fans had no choice on social media but to agree with. We are headed in the right direction, and all the other teams, around us, they not they don't have that trajectory that we have. We are headed in the right direction. Right now, we're 8-0. We're the number 5 team in the country. Recruiting is going well. With
I
great
think that's the
destination.
only difference between y'all and Florida State, because somebody who don't really keep up with football would say, "Oh, Miami is going to look like Florida State next year." I'm gonna be honest with you. I think it's the complete opposite, because Miami did what Florida State did last year, but the only difference is Mario. As much as I don't like Miami, he's been recruiting his ass off. I
Now,
can't.
the only reason they trying to say that is because they're looking at the Cam Ward effect.
Yes, yeah, and I'll be honest with you. Originally, in the like game one, I'm gonna be honest with you. I kind of said the same thing, but as the season went on, it was like, nah, it's not just Cam Ward, because other players from around the football that I know they recruited are making plays and stepping up and making a difference. So that's why I say that. Like I can't even sit there and say, well, nah, they're gonna be trash next year because they ain't got no. Nah, Miami has the obviously the best offensive line in the state and arguably in the South outside of what Georgia and maybe a couple other teams. I can't insert Bama there because and skill set. I don't think it's fair to say it's it's Florida, the state of Florida. Everybody got receivers except Florida State, but everybody else got
I
receivers
think
down
Florida
there.
State got a few receivers. They
Who?
just underdeveloped and they don't have a quarterback to throw it to.
And man, I've been watching them. They lead the nation in most drop passes in their receiving core.
I think it's kind of funny to me because I remember a couple years ago, Travis Hunter and what's his name, Hakeem Williams. They had a little back and forth on Twitter about who's loyal and who ain't loyal and all that when he committed to Florida State. My dude has not scored a touchdown this season.
You say what?
Hakeem Williams got about 120 yards this season, I think, with 0 touchdowns. This is
That's
a
not.
this is a former 5-star receiver. You
Yeah,
telling me 2 years this is what you get out of a 5-star receiver at Florida State?
that's that seminal development right there. And you want to? I'm gonna be honest with you, just because I've come on your channel a bunch of times. I'm gonna tell you this crazy fact. The main reason why I've always hated Florida State is because in high school I went to their camp. Right, I played offensive line. My whole high school team, we got invited to the 7-on-7 camp out there, and we dominated. We won the 7-on-7 Seminoles camp. We won the little tomahawk spear and stuff. We won all of that. This was 2016, 2017. I won the 7-on-7 lineman event. I didn't have a single start in my name, nothing like that. And you know what their whole staff told everybody who dominated in that event? If you're not a 5-star, we're not looking at you. I don't care if you 6'6", I don't care if you 6'5". If you don't got no stars by your name, we don't care about you. They said that in front of every single player that came to that camp. Do you know they had several kids decommit from Florida State that was in that camp after that? You know how many? You know how stupid that sounds? Oh, if you're not a 5-star, we're not even looking at you. Meanwhile, it's only
like tells me you're not gonna develop shit.
Hey, after that, and it's not like I'm not sitting there tooting my own horn and saying, well, I was this all-American offensive lineman. I wasn't. You know, I was decent. I was solid. I'm good enough to go D1. But for them to tell thousands of kids in that small ass little practice field that they got that, hey, we're not even looking at all of y'all. We only looking at the very best out of all of y'all. Everybody else, we'll find something else for y'all to do.
Now hold on, I got a comment here from a Gator fan, Drip SS with a punching bag and a Gator. So he a Gator fan. That's why y'all good. Cam Hard, my guy. Stop capping. I'm talking to a Gator fan right now that could clearly see that the rest of the team is clicking just as much. Cam is the icing on the cake. Cam is phenomenal. Don't get me. Don't. Cam is a different level quarterback. I gotta admit it. Everybody, the whole country can see it. The man is a Heisman candidate, leading a Heisman candidate.
They compare his stats.
But this is a team. This is a team effort, man. Everybody clicking. Everybody doing their part. He gonna be a hard guy to replace. Don't get me wrong. The kind of numbers he putting up, the kind of experience, everything.
But he's definitely putting up the blueprint of what they want Miami to look like in that position. I will give y'all that.
There's a few quarterbacks out there that gonna possibly be in that portal that could fill that spot. But I'm not even gonna jump into that until any of those guys even get into the portal.
I feel like
names are being thrown around. And when you start naming names this early, it's like, okay, who tampering with who? But at the same time, I think Emory might be that guy, that next guy up. Of course, we're gonna probably go in the portal and get some competition for him, but I don't think next season is gonna be a huge fall off or anything like that.
I heard you say before that you felt like DJ Lagway should hit the portal and come to Miami after seeing what Cam Ward was doing.
I'll take Lagway. I will take Lagway.
I'm sure you would, but let me ask you this.
By the end of this season, I think y'all going to put enough experience on him. Right now, Graham Mertz is out of the way.
Yeah.
There's no 2-quarterback system, this, that, and the third. It's the Lagway show. So from here on out, all he going to do is get some tough love, obviously some losses. I think y'all going to lose to Georgia and a couple more teams. So obviously some tough love, but he gonna battle it out, a lot of adversity and stuff like that. Next season, he gonna have a little bit of experience on him. I'll take a Lagway.
So my question to you about that is, outside of that, how do you feel about Lagway though as a player, as a quarterback? Because I've been hearing a lot of people say, "Oh, they don't like him. He this, that." And I'm like, look, listen,
Lagway,
relax.
Lagway got time. He got time to develop. He got time to polish some of his skills. I think some of the turnovers that he made are ill-advised, but as time go on, he gonna read better. He gonna see the field a lot better. He gonna take off and run like he been doing and all that. He gonna extend plays. I like Lagway, man. I see a bright future for that kid.
Wherever he is his career at, yeah.
Whether he's at Florida or somewhere else, depending on y'all situation. Because what are you guys at right now? 4 or 5 wins? 4 wins?
4-3.
Y'all are 4-3. You got a tough stretch coming up, but Florida State, that's a win for you guys. That's 5 wins. You just got to squeeze one out of the other ones.
I think so. I'm giving you a little bit on the Gator side of that. Yeah, we officially already considered Florida State is a dub, so that's 5. Yeah. The
I'll
other
give
win,
y'all a dub right now for them.
you say what?
I'll give you a dub for Florida State right now. I already
Yeah.
done told people how I feel about Florida State this season. Florida State is an easy coochie, plain and simple.
I'm just mad at Cal for losing to them. But anyway, I think the 6th win would probably come from either, and bear with me because I know you're gonna be like, why would you say that? Y'all gonna get blowed out. For let me say for one, we're gonna get our ass whooped to Georgia. We're gonna get our ass whooped to Texas. I think the only chance we get to six possible wins is gonna come down between LSU or Ole Miss. Now you can argue. You
Said
can
that
argue and
last
say,
week. I'm not gonna argue with you.
and I'm listen. Let me explain before I go past that. Ole Miss, they still are good, but I don't think they are as elite as they've been made out to be or voted to be.
Okay, let me ask you this. Are you on the lane train to Florida?
I was, but I'm not no more.
Now, for all the Gator fans that are on that train, if Billy beat Lane,
Exactly. That's why I said I'm not on it no more, because then that's when the problem is going to come. And then to throw even more on that, it's going to come down to how it looks. If Lane Kiffin and Ole Miss come in the Gainesville and whoop their ass, then yes, because that's going to be his statement of saying y'all should have hired me right after y'all got rid of Dan Mullen, even though he told y'all to hire me.
I think it's going to be some Gator fans that are conflicted in that game.
It is.
They're going to be some Gator fans that actually want y'all to lose. As crazy as that sounds.
But what's gonna fuel that is what leads up to that game. If we go into the LSU game, not LSU, but the Ole Miss game with 6 wins or 5, not 6 wins because we're not beating Georgia or Texas, with 5 wins. Well, yeah, with that 5th win, I think they're kind of gonna go, we want you out of here with that L. Get your ass out of here with a loss. But if they win that's 6 wins, right? Well, that's 5 wins right there. Then you beat Florida State at the end of the season, and then you finish 6-6, or get a dirt sauce bowl game and try to win that to make it 7-6, and try to sell that to recruits again. But then again, the bigger problem is this what you want Florida football to look like? Scuffling for a 6-6 or 7-6 season every year, and because they should have beat Tennessee. They should have never lost to that Tennessee game. I don't know if you watched that. I don't know if you even care, but that was all Billy Napier on that game.
Y'all should have won that game.
They beat Tennessee.
Billy also showed me he ain't got no balls in that game, because y'all should have went for that too.
Scared money don't make money, right?
Y'all should have went for that too. That would have been a statement right there.
Yeah. And here's the thing that ESPN was talking about that situation. Looking back, hindsight, had you went for 2 and got the 2-point conversion and won the game in Tennessee in Knoxville at that, and then you follow up with beating Kentucky the next week, do you know that would have put Florida in the top 25? Because you beat a ranked team, a ranked top 10 team for one. Obviously SEC, then you follow up with another dominant SEC win. I'm not saying that would have put Florida in the top 10 or nothing like that, but that would have catapulted them into the top 25 for sure. Because then that means they're going into the Georgia bye week at 5-2. Hell, it's already top 10 teams right now outside. Well, some teams right now in the top 15 that have 2 losses already, that are playoff teams so far.
Yeah, I think that the SEC right now, the only undefeated SEC team is Texas A&M.
In conference play, yeah.
Yeah, in conference play, which is what really is going to matter down the stretch.
Yeah. And all that's doing is telling the rest of the setting it up to where, okay, Texas A&M might look like they go to the what's it called? What the shit called? SEC championship. That's all it is. That's all it is. And even if they go to that, I still don't see them. That's a whole nother conversation. But I don't think
it's scenarios. It's scenarios for the SEC, but I want to wait maybe two more weeks before I even start talking, because so many teams have lost. Too many teams got 1 loss.
Yes. And
Now,
then it really hurt them with Georgia losing because you know they love Georgia. They love
now with
Georgia.
the ACC on the other hand, which I got it right here on the side of the Miami Florida State deal. Florida State down there at the bottom at 1-6 in ACC play. That's tough. 1-7 total. Damn, man, that's tough. But anyways, Clemson 5-0 in ACC play. Miami 4-0. You got SMU 4-0. You got Pitt 3-0. They all undefeated. This week coming up gonna tell you everything you need to know. You got Clemson taking on Louisville, and you got SMU versus Pitt. Miami takes on Duke.
I think Pitt gonna win that. You said Clemson takes on who?
Louisville.
Give me Clemson. Is it in Louisville?
Let me. Well, in a little bit more down the stretch in the segment, I'm gonna pull up all the games. I just want to, talk about this Miami game and everything leading up. All the headlines right now, pretty much. But the ACC, there's a battle right now. I don't put Pitt in the battle. I put it, Clemson, Miami, and SMU. But if SMU lose this weekend, then more than likely it'll just be Miami versus
Clemson.
Miami versus Clemson, because Clemson got to play Pitt also.
Right.
So in order for it to be Miami versus anybody but Clemson, Pitt would have to knock off both SMU and Clemson, which right now it's not out of the realm of possibilities.
Yeah, I was about to say I can see them getting SMU, but that Clemson game, depending on where it's played at, is either gonna be an ass whooping or a 3 or 2 touchdown type of ass whooping. One of the two.
I think right now everybody's out like sleeping on Pitt.
And they not that bad this season. They're not that bad this season.
But I can tell you something about SMU because I didn't watch the game, but from listening to Mario Cristobal interview this morning, apparently they caused 9 turnovers. They recovered 6 of them. Manny Diaz caused 9 turnovers against SMU, and they recovered 6. And they still end up losing that game in overtime by a point. So SMU could have got knocked off if Duke. If Duke could have took advantage of it. If Duke had an offense, which by the way, my head coach said, Duke got a good offense this morning. I almost dropped my coffee.
You mean the same team that looked like Florida State on third downs got a good offense?
Yeah, I almost dropped my coffee. I almost laughed to death because I know my coach is a troll for saying they're a good offense because there ain't no way in hell, not from what I've been watching.
Yeah, I that's funny because that's a troll move right there. Yeah. They said that when they played Florida State that because I'm not gonna lie, I listen to the Florida State podcast all the time, all of them, because I love hearing them cry and I love hearing them complain about who need to get fired. And they said the same thing.
They real humble right now. They real humble.
And they real quiet. They real down and under.
Man, you gotta love it. You gotta love it. It's crazy because I've seen a lot of projection between them and us. Before the season started, they had us projected as 10-2 or 12-0, depending on the Louisville and the Florida State game. Then the games got started. They projected Florida State to be 12-0 this year, which is crazy. Looking at how it is right now.
I said,
our projection was, I think, 8-4, your best, and I think your worst was like 5 and something.
Talking about for Florida State?
For Florida. But right now, y'all could I could see y'all winning the 5 games. Y'all gonna win the 5 games. Florida State is guaranteed.
Yeah. And it's not even.
I could probably squeeze another one out and go because y'all was at 4.5 as a over and under. So I could see y'all probably pulling that 6 win, but y'all got to do it between Ole Miss and LSU.
Yeah.
Because Florida State is a guaranteed win. Like I've been saying for the past month now, easy coochie, easy.
My biggest thing for Miami is y'all not showing up when y'all hit the playoffs or the biggest game. That's the only thing because, listen, I hate all the state teams, but I'm a Florida boy. I love to see the state win. I love to see the recruits stay in the state. Me personally, I don't know about
I can say this. from seeing how we played this season, we going week to week. It's 1-0 every week.
Yeah,
The culture, that's the culture we got right now. Now I can't predict what's gonna happen in the playoffs. Competition gonna get steeper, you know, temperature gonna be different, mood gonna be different. Some teams ain't if they get a lead on you, they ain't gonna let up and they ain't gonna let you crawl back in and stuff like that. Some teams gonna have better DBs and Cam Ward. They're gonna have so much film on him, tendencies and everything. But we're gonna do the same on our side. So at the end of the day, I'm welcome to all of it. Whenever it comes around, it comes around. Because there's scenarios for Miami to be 12-0 and don't even make the ACC championship game.
I think I heard that right there, and the reason why they said that was because there are no ranked or Power 5, not Power 5, but no ranked quality teams on y'all schedule.
It's not even that. It's more of the schedule, the team schedules. So basically, Clemson, Miami, and SMU don't play each other.
Right.
So at the end of the day, if we're all undefeated at 8-0 in conference play, it comes down to the quality of the resume of the other teams that we played.
Yeah.
Some teams we do play like Florida State. All of us already beat Florida State. All of us play Louisville. Miami beat Louisville. SMU beat Louisville. Now Clemson take them on this weekend. So those games don't matter. Those two games don't matter. But it's how we beat the rest of our opponent and what their record at the end of the year. So we kind of need them to be good.
Yeah, I get what you're saying. Like it's almost like a Florida State situation last year when they say, well, the quality of teams that you played and beat wasn't really that good. And I get what you're saying with that. That makes sense. But I don't see us. I ain't gonna say I don't. If y'all finish 12-0, it'll be really hard to keep y'all out of that. Because off the strength of y'all are not just beating teams, y'all are blowing teams out. It'd have been one thing if y'all did what Florida State did.
I can see the ACC saying we're not going to stretch the rule for you guys because they're going to look at it from a standpoint of, okay, Miami's 12-0, 8-0 in conference. They're going to get a playoff spot. Now, you could use this game, this ACC championship game, to boost SMU or Clemson in there too. Because ACC champion is going to get in the playoffs with the automatic boost.
Yeah, automatic bid.
So now you got two ACC teams because they're not going to say, okay, well, all right, we got all the automatic bids. Let's not put Miami, a 12-0 team that's ranked number 5 in the country right now. If we win out, we're going to be in that top 4.
Yeah.
This weekend alone, Ohio State takes on Penn State. One of those guys going to be gone. Miami handle business for the rest of the year. We gonna be a top 4, top 5 team all the way through.
Yeah, I kind of see that scenario like that too. Like I said, it's just gonna come down to, like you said, the quality of teams at the end of the year. But first, you got to finish the year. Let's just not jump the broom. You got to finish the year if you're gonna do anything. Because I think if we being honest, a loss on Miami's schedule, that kind of spells like the season's over. As far, I ain't gonna say over. Y'all won't drop out of it, but
a loss right now, a lot would need to happen. If Miami lose right now, we would definitely need SMU and Clemson to lose. Because our best way into the playoffs would be through winning the ACC championship.
Yeah.
But I don't think they're gonna leave a Miami. Let's just say we lose the last game of the season or something. We're going to be still ranked. We're still going to be ranked highly.
Yeah. If you lose one game at the end of the season and you finish 11-1, y'all will still be top 10.
Exactly. So
y'all will still be top 10. I don't see that. I don't see y'all falling unless y'all got blew out, which I can't really see that. Y'all will still be.
I don't see it either. Yeah. They said I thought the 4 teams are the conference championship. Yeah, right. Those are the 4 automatic bids, and then you got a group of 5 automatic bids. So that's 5 spots already taken.
Hey T2, I'm gonna have to get back on here a little bit later. I'm gonna go pick up my daughter.
All right, man. Take it easy.
All right.
I'm gonna put the link in the chat. Any of y'all are welcome to come on, join in on the conversation. The link is in the chat. If you're on YouTube, just click it. Come on in. But yeah, it's a lot going on in the ACC. Like I said, this weekend is going to be pivotal for Miami. All we got to do is continue to win, which I do believe we're going to beat Duke. I believe we're going to beat Duke. I think we're going to dominate them boys, to be honest with you. Manny Diaz do have a tough defense. They do. But the offense is non-existent. The offense does not exist in my book, in my eyes, from what I've been seeing. Duke don't have an offense to, put up points against Miami. So at the end of the day, win out, and everything else will fall in place. Hopefully, Pitt could throw a wrench and beat SMU this weekend. They play each other. So, root for Pitt, man. Knock off SMU, make this scenario a lot less of a head scratcher. We don't need 3 undefeated SEC teams because it might not play out well for us, even if we undefeated. I'm just being real with y'all. But good win for Miami, man. Like the stats, like I said, guys, not the best outing for Cam Ward. I do believe in when you play teams like this, like Florida State, who do have good DBs, you got to take the check downs here and there. You got to run the ball on them. They can't stop the run, and especially when you're dropping 2. Florida State had 2 safeties drop back almost every goddamn play. They were like, listen, man, y'all gonna win this game, but y'all ain't gonna blow it. We ain't finna just let y'all blow us out. You ain't finna throw the ball on us all goddamn game. Which sucks for them because they run defense like terrible. Damian Martinez had a hell of a day, 15 carries, 48 yards, and 2 touchdowns. Mark Fletcher had a good day too. He also had a touchdown. Man, had to be a tough week for Mark Fletcher. R.I.P. to his dad. And I don't know how I feel because I still do have my dad, but I've took a couple of losses family member wise this year, so I kind of get how it is, but not quite because your dad, it just hit different. But good to see him out there in good spirit, running the ball, being dominant, and everything like that. Now, Little Jr. I remember when it came down to Miami or Alabama, and he chose to go to Alabama. After his dad went out there and said, hey, man, Miami need to recruit my son more. They need to show him that he want him and all that. And the coaches did what they did, and he ended up choosing to go Alabama. 2 seasons later, here he is at Florida State. Pretty much damn near almost everybody that was nobody that was at Alabama pretty much went to Florida State. Transfer portal. It didn't add up. Norvell didn't hit like he normally hit. The years before he went into the portal, he got all damn near the best guys, almost ranked number 1 in all the positions in the portal. This season, hung around 13-1, and had to get the scraps when he finally got beat, 63-3. So all the Florida State fans going nuts. Oh, we got all the Alabama guys. Alabama, the logo, the name, Nick Saban, former 5-star, 4 stars. These are highly rated guys and everything. Didn't pan out. Now you're in the middle of the season and you're 1-7. You Miami just killed your whole bowl chance with that win. You ain't going to no bowl. You're eating your cereal out of the cup this year, Florida State. That's tough. Right now, y'all really ain't got nothing to play for. I don't see anybody on your team that's really NFL. That's an NFL kind of guy. So obviously, in my opinion, you should probably start playing the younger guys, the guys that you know for a fact that's going to be there next year. Because a lot of them guys going to hit the portal themselves. A lot of them guys on your team, we've seen it year in and year out. You bring in the transfer portal guys, your high school guys, they transfer out. So it is what it is. Y'all going to be down for a while, Florida State. You're probably going to have to fire some coaches. Probably going to have to rebuild the whole team. But you're going to be down for a couple of years now. And I'm gonna let you know the way Miami's going, we're gonna kick your teeth in for the next 20, 30 years. So hey, be ready. I'm just telling you, be ready. But yeah, man, so Florida State in that game, they had like two quarterbacks or whatever, Brock Glenn, didn't do nothing. Then you got this Luke guy, he was 6 for 14 for 61 yard, no touchdown. That kind of deal. That's what they're dealing with right now. They got a quarterback experiment at Florida State right now. They're trying to see, who's going to be the guy. Norvell trying to get a feel for him. They also got this other guy. I think his name's Jackson, if I'm not mistaken. Trevor Jackson or something like that. Y'all know his name. Y'all put him in the chat. But I don't know where to go with that program. I don't know who they're gonna fire. I know they want Randy Shannon gone for a fact. I know that for a fact. They hate all his linebackers. They hate his coaching style. They hate that he's from Miami. They hate everything. They hate everything about Randy Shannon, his recruiting especially. They want Dugan gone. Right now, Florida State don't even have a wide receiver commit right now. After we beat the bejesus out of them the other night, guess what? They had a decommitment. Miami got a commitment that night, by the way. Obviously, legacy kid, Clint Portis' son. So the writings was on the wall for where he was going. It's so much turmoil up there in Tallahassee. Now I could go back to the beginning of the season before any football got played. They were projecting Florida State to be in the playoffs. They were projecting them to win the ACC. All the Miami fans, whether or not they want to admit it now or whatever, we was saying that the two toughest game on our schedule was going to be Louisville and Florida State. Louisville lived up to the hype. Florida State didn't. But I don't know what to tell y'all. I don't know what to tell y'all, man. Norvell, he ain't got the words for y'all. He's scrambling right now in y'all press conference. He don't know what to say. That man is defeated. You can see it on the sideline. He just can't wait for this year to be over. He can't wait to tell some of these guys, hit the road. He can't wait to tell some of these coaches, that's it. Find you another destination. That's tough. Florida, I'm telling you guys, this off season, Florida State is going to be a program to watch out for all the headlines. I'm telling you, they're going to be putting up all kind of searches. If he do fire certain guys, they're going to be putting up all these searches for these positions, this coaching position, that coaching position. And then all the fans going to have a good old grand old time putting their list together of all the guys that they think they should get and who would fit and all that. Some of them will have a good list of, possible candidates. Some of them going to have a fantasy world list. Some of them going to have some shit that's damn near impossible. And it's going to be all fun and joy to watch from the outside. Man, that's tough. I think them boys were 13-1 last year. Man, that's tough. Their leading running back yesterday was actually their quarterback, Luke. Luke was damn near the MVP on Florida State side. 11 carries for 71 because we was on his neck. We was on his neck yesterday. I'm sorry, the day before. I'm so used to doing this the day after. That's tough. 11 carries for 71 yards. Ja'Kai Douglas, he was their star wide receiver. My dude had one catch for 29 yards. That's it. On our hand, we had Isaiah Horton. He recorded 6 catches for 65 yards. Now, in that game, a lot of Florida State fans like to brag about, Xavier Restrepo last season, not catching any passes against him, not putting up any yards and all that, whatever. But, not this game. So, Elijah Arroyo, man. The only thrown touchdown in that game from him to Cam Ward. Cam Ward might have not thrown one, but he caught one. So for all the Florida State fans with the moral victories, Cam didn't go crazy on us. He didn't, throw for 400 and 5 touchdowns and all that. Some of y'all, Some of y'all will take anything you can get, and at this point, it's understandable. It's very understandable. Y'all are down bad. Y'all are trash. Somebody said, "Tell Earl Little Jr. come home." I don't know, dog. I don't know, dog. After him being mixed in with Florida State guys, dog, I don't know. I don't know, man. I don't want that apple to come down here and spoil the whole bunch. I don't know, man. I think you stay where you at. Stay where you at. You had your chance. Stay where you at. Stay up there. Manny Diaz once said when he was at Miami, listen, man, if you don't come to Miami, we're just gonna beat you later. Obviously, Manny couldn't live up to that, but Mario's doing exactly that right now. That's tough, Earl Little. That's tough. That's tough. Eat grass. For those of you guys looking at the thumbnail of this video right now, you guys can see that's Earl Little. That's Earl Little Jr. That's Earl Little Jr. That's tough. Eat that grass, my boy. Eat that grass. You had your chance. You didn't come. That's tough. Now, rushing the ball, Damian Martinez, 15 carries, 148. Mark Fletcher, 15 carries, 71 yards. Three running touchdown, basically. Rushing touchdowns yesterday. I keep saying yesterday. Y'all forgive me. Now, Xavier Restrepo in this game had 4 catches for 24 yards, averaging six yards a catch, basically. Like I said, guys, Florida State, they DBs, I got to give them. They did a phenomenal job in that game. If you're gonna beat them, you literally would have to take like the quick passes. Obviously, you saw some of those. You know, Cam got the ball out quick, and we took what we could get with the yak. But this was a running game for Miami. The run was there all game. We basically were running the ball down their throat. They couldn't stop it, and they were definitely not pulling them safeties up because they know at any given point Cam could go nuts on them. So it is what it is, man. I was surprised though during that game. Big production, aka little production, aka no production. Former Miami Hurricane, Darrell Jackson, he did get 2 sacks in that game, which was surprising to me because all season he hasn't really done anything at Florida State. So it's clear as day that Miami do beat these guys Super Bowl, and these guys do show up to play their hardest against us. Or maybe it was just him because my dude went above and beyond what he's been doing all year. So, yeah, Darrell Jackson did end up with 2 sacks. Unfortunately, don't mean nothing when you're getting blown out. But hell of a game. Wasn't worried from the beginning to the end. I knew we was going to win this game. Some fans was more into, as long as we win, I'm okay. And I was like, as long as we win, I'm okay. But if we win this game and it's close, I'm gonna be mad as hell. I would have been mad as hell. Not that we got the W, but how we got it. I would have been mad as hell. I'm honest. Yeah, man. But that hell of a weekend. But this upcoming week, like I said, guys, ACC play. Keep an eye out on Clemson versus Louisville. Keep an eye out on SMU versus Pitt. And obviously Miami takes on, Manny Diaz and, the Blue Devils. The Blue Devils is a defensive team. They quarterback, Malik Murphy, nothing special. I've been watching them play. I've been, keeping up with the headlines, the narratives, the Manny Diaz versus the Mario, the Cuban Bowl, y'all been calling it. Former coach, new coach, I know a lot of you haters out there, especially Florida State fans and some of you Gator fans, y'all are praying on Miami downfall. Y'all are praying on our downfall. And I know if Manny Diaz would have come down here and get that win, a lot of y'all would be going crazy with the trolls. I know y'all would. So some of y'all Miami fans that's probably still on Manny Diaz is nuts. That's tough. No Diddy. y'all probably secretly rooting against my Mario. But hey, go get the win, 9-0, and let this ACC thing play out. It's a lot of drama right now. All right, so obviously, I want to take y'all chop it up in the chat real quick. I want to take a quick 5 minute break. I got a little bit of stuff to do or whatever. I'm gonna take 5 minute break. Y'all chop it up in the chat, and we're gonna talk about all the other games that got played, all the wins and losses throughout the ACC and all the Power Four conferences, and we're gonna talk about the games that's coming up. You know, some of the spreads are out. You know, who you guys are taking, who should win. Obviously, some big games this week also. You know, Penn State versus Ohio State and so forth. So y'all give me like 5 minutes, chop it up in the chat with each other. All right, guys, I'm back. So, um, some business to take care of. All right, so Mr. Young, appreciate the cash app, boss. Appreciate that. Appreciate everybody that's been hitting the cash app. Appreciate you. For those of you guys that want to support the show financially, you can do so by hitting the super chat, or you can also hit the cash app at the bottom of the screen. So, appreciate you guys. All right, so obviously ACC, like we've been talking about, a lot of games got played this weekend. Um, a lot of games with a lot of implications are coming up this week. So obviously we're gonna run through the games this weekend that basically got played. Got played. Some teams won in dramatic fashion. Some teams blowed other teams out. You know. So Thursday night kicked it off for the ACC. You had Pitt versus Syracuse. Now I watched that game for the first quarter. The first quarter I watched it. Obviously, Syracuse is an opponent that Miami plays. Pitt is not. So I kind of wanted Syracuse to win this game. But after watching the first and a little bit of the second, it was clear to see that Pitt was going to beat them, and they beat them. They blew them out. 41-13, kind of like how Miami beat Florida in the beginning of the year, basically. So that kind of a game. Hold on. I thought I had switched it to the ACC. Hold on. Okay, so and then Friday night had another thriller in the ACC. You got Louisville versus Boston College. Boston College jumped out on Louisville, and Louisville fought their way back and got the win, which is good for Miami, by the way. But Louisville also played SMU and Clemson. So in the scenario that we talk about, this game is really insignificant because Louisville is an opponent that all three teams has well, two teams have beaten already. SMU have beat them, Miami have beat them, and I do believe that this weekend I think Clemson's going to win that game. Now, obviously, I'm hoping that Louisville win the game. I'm hoping that Clemson take the L. Clemson or SMU L is what I'm waiting on right now. So the tension, the whole tie breaking scenario, everything like that could go out the window. Throw it away as long as Miami keep winning. Miami versus Florida State. We talked about that. You guys watched the game. It was never fair from the beginning to the end. Florida State is just a loser. Florida State is just a dumpster. I've been telling you guys for the longest, they easy coochie. Everybody get a piece. So there was nothing really to see there. Let's just keep it moving. Now, this game between SMU and Duke, I'm going to go back and watch this game. I'm going to watch how this thing turned out. Because I didn't watch this game. I didn't get to watch a lot of games this weekend. But I'm going to go back and watch this because I was listening to Mario Cristobal this morning. And he said Duke cost 9 turnovers. 6 of them they recovered. 6 of them they got. But they cost 9. They forced 9. I want to see this game because SMU so far, some games they've been scraping by. Some games they just blow teams out like 42-16. Florida State. But SMU been scraping by. Now, obviously, this is a Manny Diaz versus Rhett Lashley. Former head coach, offensive coordinator deal. The Miami connection, all that good stuff. De'Aaron King, was a quarterback here. He's the quarterback coach over at SMU right now. Former Miami players are over at SMU. The Duke guys, the ones that did transfer from Miami to Duke, they're all gone. So Manny's not even there with those guys like Al Blade and them. So former Miami coaches went at it, and Rhett Lashley came out on top. SMU is 7-1. Only lost to BYU, which is an out-of-conference opponent. Duke lost to them. Now they take on Miami. I think Miami beat Duke outright. I'm gonna say that, and obviously they're our opponent this week, so we're gonna talk about them regardless. Georgia Tech versus Virginia Tech. Virginia Tech won. Georgia Tech couldn't put up any points outside of 2 field goals. You kind of get that. Virginia Tech and Georgia Tech are both teams that are on Miami's schedule. We kind of needed a root for Georgia Tech more than anything in this game, but Virginia Tech got the win. North Carolina versus Virginia don't really affect Miami. We played neither one of these teams, but North Carolina got a decisive win, 41-14, going right back to the Florida versus Miami game. That kind of deal. Beat them from beginning to the end. That kind of deal. Wake Forest, Stanford. Now, this was a key win for the University of Miami. Schedule-wise, teams that we do play Wake Forest, second to the last game of the season, right after Georgia Tech. So, with them getting a win, it makes our resume of ACC opponent a little bit better. Every team that we play that they don't play, when they win, it makes our resume in ACC play a lot better. So seeing Wake Forest get the win and knowing that they are an opponent of ours, Stanford's not. That's a good deal for Miami. 27-24. Stanford went down. Stanford is 2-6 right now. They 1-4 in the ACC play. So kind of exactly what we thought they would be when they came into the conference. Cal is kind of living up to that too. They're not as bad, but they're just as around mediocre like we thought they would. They're sitting at 4-4 right now. They're 3-2 in conference. I'm sorry, they're 3-2 at home. Now, clearly playing against Oregon State, huge win for them. Oregon State is in the gutters right now too. But huge win for them, 44-7. So that brings us to week 10 in the ACC. That brings us to week 10. So now this week, there's no early game for the ACC. There's no early game. There's no Thursday night football. There's no Friday night football for the ACC. All the games in the ACC will be played on Saturday. 12 o'clock, ABC, on the main channel, ABC. Miami will take on Duke. Also, you can watch it on ESPN Plus. Now, I think I'm going to be home for this one, if I'm not mistaken. I think I'm going to be home for this one. I don't think I'm going to be able to do what I need to do on Saturday and get down to, Miami this early. So I think I'm going to be home for this one. I will live stream this one at home. We'll watch this one together. Miami's a 20-point favorite. Miami's a 20-point favorite right now against Duke. I think Miami covers. I'm not just saying that because I'm a Miami Hurricane fan and I'm being biased. Thinking outside of just my fandom, I think Miami wins this game and I think they cover. I think you'll get kind of the same kind of game feel like you got against Florida State. I think it's going to be a similar game to what you got when you saw Miami versus Florida State. I don't see Duke putting up points, plain and simple. I don't see, Duke's quarterback having this great game, throwing for so much here and there. I don't see it. So I see Miami beating Duke in, Miami versus Florida State fashion. Stanford versus NC State. NC State is almost a 10-point favorite. Both teams are pretty much middle of the pack. Stanford is below average. I'll take NC State for the win. These are games that I really don't touch because both of these teams, you never know what you'll get with neither one of them. Traveling Fools, what's going on with you? What up, everybody in the chat? Appreciate y'all for being in here. Make sure you guys hit that like button for me. Appreciate you. Virginia Tech versus Syracuse. Two teams that obviously Miami played. Now Miami's already beat Virginia Tech. Syracuse is our last game of the season. Um, Depending on how Clemson Louisville goes and SMU Pitt goes, this might be one of those tricky games where you probably root for either one. You probably root for either one. Now, me personally, I'm gonna take I want to take Syracuse. I want to take Syracuse in this one. So Virginia Tech also plays Clemson. So I want to take Syracuse. And plus, this will give Virginia Tech its second ACC loss if they do lose. Virginia Tech is a 4-point favorite. They are on the road, versus SMU. So, not, I'm sorry, versus Syracuse. So, one of those games. It's just one of those games. Now, North Carolina versus Florida State. This is a tricky one. But I'm gonna take Mac Brown to get that win. I'm gonna take Mac Brown. To get that win. Florida State is they dumpster juice, man. I can't pick them to win over nobody. I just can't. I just can't. I'm trying to find any reason to pick them to knock off North Carolina because North Carolina been terrible this year too, but they ain't Florida State bad. North Carolina is going into Tallahassee as a 2.5-point favorite. The over and under is at 50. I think if it does get to that or even over it, I think it's going to be mainly North Carolina. Florida State is averaging 15 points a game. 15 points. Well, a little bit under that. Like 14 points something because, they didn't even get to the 15 against Miami. They had 14. Shouldn't even had that. Should have had 7. I can't see Florida State putting up points. So if it does go over the 50, I could see it being a North Carolina blowing out Florida State kind of deal. Mac Brown get that win. Listen, Duke got the win for the first time. So I could see North Carolina doing the same, getting that win over Florida State. This is the year to do it. Everybody in the ACC, this is y'all year to get the lick back. Obviously, Cal lost to him, but Cal ain't no ACC team. Cal ain't, went through last year with them. Cal ain't, they're not really on a get back season. This is Florida State being terrible and everybody taking a hit at them. I think North Carolina will get it done. I think they'll cover that spread. I think the spread, to be honest with you, is a little bit too low. I think 2.5 is a little bit too low. North Carolina should probably be favored by at least 6.5. But hey, that's just me. Louisville versus Clemson. This game is at Clemson. Clemson is 6-1. Louisville comes in there after a comeback win on Boston College. This game will kind of give you like a measuring stick around the ACC. Obviously, everybody so far has beaten Florida State. Miami's beat them. Miami's beat them in worse fashion than Clemson, but SMU got them the best. Now, obviously, SMU beats, Louisville by 7. Miami did the same. So I kind of want to see what Clemson does. Kind of want to see how Clemson measure up in this Louisville game. Is it going to be a back and forth like it was, with Miami and SMU, where it's a high-scoring game? Defense was almost non-factoring in that game. I want to see if Clemson survives this game and how they do it, if they do. Now, if Louisville wins this game, then we got a whole lot to talk about. A possible, Miami versus SMU, or even a possible Miami versus Pitt. Who knows? Yeah, probably game of the week for the ACC though would probably be between Pitt and SMU. This game could be game of the week. Number 18 Pitt, they're 7-0, undefeated. They're 3-0 in ACC. Then you got SMU, they're number 20 in the country, 7-1, 4-0 in ACC. So obviously one of these teams will take an L. Will take an L. Somebody will not be undefeated in ACC play after this weekend. So you could kind of narrow it down. Now, as a Miami fan, I'm rooting for Pitt in this game. I'm rooting for Pitt. All the drama behind Miami versus, Clemson versus SMU, all that drama goes away as long as Miami keep winning and SMU lose this game. If SMU loses to Pitt, that drama is gone. More than likely, if Clemson win, it'll be a clear cut, between Miami and Clemson. Now, if Clemson lose and SMU lose, then Pitt's in the process. Pitt's in there. So it's gonna be an amazing weekend for the ACC, man. I would say those are the two games to pay attention to. Obviously the three games: Miami versus Duke, Clemson versus Louisville, Pitt versus SMU. Miami lose, then you could throw this out the window. It'll be between those three, and we'll need some losses here and there if we still want to make the ACC. So obviously, I don't think we're gonna lose the Duke. So it is what it is. If SMU lose, that'll be great for us. If Clemson lose, that'll be great for us. If both of them lose, that'll be even better. Miami will be the only team in the ACC undefeated with everybody else with a loss already. So at that point, not saying that we should take a loss or we want to lose or anything like that. Obviously, we want to be 12-0, but we would have room for error. We would have room for error and still make it, into the ACC championship if both of those teams already got losses. We'll just be right back in the scenario, but we'll have at least room for error. Right now, with the way things are playing out, we have no room for error. If Clemson wins and SMU wins this weekend, we're right back to the tie-breaking scenario. So it is what it is. Let's going over to the SEC real quick. Kind of don't want to hold you guys too long today. Normally we do these shows on Sunday, but let's go on over to the SEC. Obviously, so Texas took on Vanderbilt this weekend. They barely won. Vanderbilt this season, man, they're playing like a powerhouse. Vanderbilt is playing like a powerhouse. Vanderbilt is one game away from being bowl eligible right now. Vanderbilt, with wins against Alabama and Kentucky in conference play. Alabama took on Texas, the team that was formerly number one after losing to Georgia or whatever. 27-24, 3-point win. That's tough. Texas dropped one place in the poll after that. Miami moves up to being the number 5 team in the country. So that's great for us that they struggle. We move on. We're moving on up. Now, one of the SEC, good games of the week too, was kind of close, and then Texas A&M took off. I don't know who number 10 is for Texas A&M. I've been seeing highlight of this kid all week, but whoever number 10 is for Texas A&M, he might be a problem. He might be a problem soon. But nonetheless, LSU lost. Texas A&M is the only team right now that's 5-0 and undefeated in the SEC. In the SEC, they beat LSU, giving LSU their second loss on the season. Now, obviously, let's we'll go through the standings after this because there's some scenarios going on for the SEC championship game. Also, there's a lot of one-loss teams in this thing, so it's going to be tough to see. And we also going to check out to see if Texas A&M can make it to the end of the season undefeated in SEC play. Alabama decisive win over Missouri this weekend, blowout 34-0. Missouri just couldn't get anything going. Now I did see a Corey flag, Miami debacle kind of deal. Same thing I saw from him at Miami. A deer in headlights, frozen, big play right in front of him, kind of froze up and everything. And I was like, yep, that's the Corey Flags I know. Now, shout out to Corey Flags because he did give us some good memories at Miami. He did give us some goods along with the bad. So shout out to him anyways. But I kind of saw the similarities that I saw at Miami during that game. And even when they called his name, I was like, yep, that's the guy. That's the Corey Flag I know. But that's tough. Ole Miss got the victory over Oklahoma. Oklahoma's been terrible this season in the SEC, man. It's kind of tough to see Texas doing as well as they are with Oklahoma coming in. They're 4-4, 1-4 in conference. 1-4 in conference. Terrible way to make your entrance into the SEC. That's terrible. That's tough. Arkansas took care of Mississippi State. Mississippi State is 1-7. Mississippi State is the Florida State of the SEC right now. Mississippi State is the Florida State of the SEC right now. 1-7, 0-5 in conference. That's tough. Auburn knocks off Kentucky. Kentucky 3-5. Knocked off Ole Miss this year. We all thought them losing to Georgia by 1 point. That maybe they'll have something this year. Nope, fall off. Vanderbilt beat them. Now Auburn beat them. Auburn now improved to 3-5 on the season. That's tough. That's tough. Man, that's tough. Some of these teams are just horrible, but it is what it is. This week in the SEC. These games coming up this week. So you got Ole Miss, Arkansas. That's a 12 o'clock game. Ole Miss favored by 7. They're on the road at Arkansas. I'm gonna lean with Ole Miss in this one. I'm gonna lean with Ole Miss with this one. But if Arkansas were to pull the upset, I'm gonna be honest with you guys. I can't say I'd be surprised. But I'm gonna lean more towards Ole Miss winning this game. Vanderbilt versus Auburn. Now Auburn's at home. Vanderbilt's coming in there. Vanderbilt's at 5-3. I think I'm gonna go with I'm gonna take Vanderbilt for the win. I'm actually gonna take Vanderbilt for the win. Sarge, what's going on with you? Sarge, the link's in the chat if you want to join in. I know you love the SEC and everything. I'm gonna take Vanderbilt for the win. They're an underdog again this week. They've been showing up. They've been playing their hearts out. I think they get bowl eligible this week. Obviously, I ain't gonna put no life-saving type of money on them, but I might throw a little $20 on Vanderbilt. They're gonna be the underdog in most of all their games, and I think they got the chance to pull off the win, pull off the upset. As long as they upset, that's some good money to come from Vanderbilt. I'm gonna take Vanderbilt. Auburn's been terrible this year. Auburn's at home. They're almost a 7-point favorite. That should be some good money on Vanderbilt. I'm gonna take Vanderbilt for the win. Man, 2024 is tough. I'm saying we take Vanderbilt in 2024. Man, that's tough. Oklahoma versus Maine. Oklahoma should get a bounce back win. Go ahead and get that win on the road. All right, so ABC, man, ABC 3:30 game. You got Georgia, you got Florida, Jacksonville. Obviously, this is the cocktail party, whatever they want to call it, the biggest cocktail party. Now, obviously, Georgia's the favorite. They're the number 2 team in the country. They 6-1, 4-1 in SEC play. 16 and a half point favorite versus Florida. Now, clearly, 16 and a half point. Hold on, let me check Hard Rock real quick. I kind of want to see what's the money line. The money line. Because I might do something crazy this week. I might take Florida to win. I might actually take Florida to win. I might actually take Florida to beat Georgia this weekend. As crazy as that sounds, I might take Georgia. I might take Florida for the huge upset. But I need to see, is it worth doing? Is it worth doing? And it's got to be some big number to where I could risk a little and win a lot kind of deal. So if Florida does go out there and lose the game, it's nothing that I'll be like, oh, damn, why did I do that kind of deal? Yeah, but let me see if I can see what's the deal with that one. All right, so they really, I'm not seeing any money line for it as of yet. I'm not seeing any money line for Florida, Georgia. Oh, wait. So Florida is a plus 550. So Florida is a plus 550. I might put a little $5 on Florida, man. Might put a little $5 on Florida. Let me see. So if I put $5 on Florida, what's the payout? $32.50. I might put a little $5 on Florida to get the upset over Georgia this weekend. Risk a little, you win a lot. Now, that's just the betting man in me. That's just, going against the odds. Now, I think Florida's going to lose this game. I think Florida's going to lose this game outright. I think Lagway is not going to be ready for a defense that Georgia, going to bring. I don't think he's ready. I think he's going to basically get a dose of, an elite team, an elite SEC team. They haven't really played an elite SEC team up to this point. Miami is an elite team that they play, but we're in the ACC. Obviously, if he does stay at Florida, if Billy don't get fired in anything, or if he do end up staying regardless of Billy getting fired, he'll play Miami again. But the rest of his collegiate years, depending on when he goes, he won't see Miami again for a while. So you'll definitely see Georgia every year, though. Like I said, Georgia is an elite defense. Georgia is elite. They got elite from top to bottom. They've been recruiting like that for years now. Lagway, if Lagway could pull this off, if Florida could pull this off, which I don't believe they can, I really don't. Man, I think this will be the biggest shocker in college football. the last couple of years, I think Georgia's beat them by at least 21 points, and they're probably projected to beat them by 21 or more this year. So if Florida could get the upset as a betting man, that'll be great. That'll be great. Risk little, win a lot. Plus 550. Plus 550. I'm just saying. Now, won't be surprised though. Whatever you put on, Florida, you're gonna lose it. That's tough. That's tough. That's why, Steve. That's why I say, if Florida pull the upset, for the little bit of money you put on them, you'll win a little handsome amount now. If you're one of those fans that go crazy with betting, let's just say you put $100 on Florida, you'll win $550. Your payout will be $650. I wouldn't recommend you putting $100 on Florida because, to me, to be honest with you, they could probably pull the upset, but the probability and possibility is very low, and it probably won't happen. So that's why I said, man, I might just throw a little $5 on them, or maybe even a little $10 on them. You put $10 on Florida, you win $55. I'm pretty sure you could, if you lose $10, you're not gonna be mad. You're not gonna be that mad. Well, I don't know most people's financial situations, but if I put $10 on Florida and Florida end up losing, I'm not gonna be mad about it. So it is what it is. But that's gonna be a good game. Not as competitive as it probably could be if Florida was a little bit better. But that's tough. That's tough, man. Florida for the first time, y'all will take on a former running back. Now, Etienne obviously left the University of Florida to go play for Georgia, their biggest rivalry. Said that he want to play in, December. So far, it's looking like that. You guys possibly could make a bowl game, but as of right now, it's uncertain. It all determines if you could beat LSU or you could beat Ole Miss. But you'll definitely beat Florida State. You already got 4 wins. I think you're going to lose to Georgia. I think you're going to lose to Texas. And, you'll beat Florida State, and then your bowl eligibility will come down to either beating Ole Miss or beating LSU, which you're not going to be favored in neither one of those also. So 5 wins might be it, but you still got a possibility of winning 6 and actually playing in December, and then you guys can have a moral victory and say, Etienne, we do play in December. We 6-6. We bowl eligible. Bottom of the barrel trash type of deal, Man, let's move on. Mississippi State versus Massachusetts UMass. Mississippi State actually got a worse record than UMass. Mississippi State is 1-7. God dog it. That's tough, man. Texas A&M, they'll travel to Columbia, South Carolina to play against South Carolina. They're only a 2.5-point favorite. They're the number 10 team in the country as of right now. They're only a 2.5-point favorite against a 4-3 South Carolina team. But if you've been watching South Carolina this year, then you obviously know that, South Carolina, they do show up to these games. They do play their best. They do give you a run for your money, So I think it's going to be one of them tough games. I do think Texas A&M win, and they'll improve to 8-1. They'll be 6-0 in conference. And, there'll be a lot of debate to go back and forth about the SEC. Tennessee versus Kentucky. Tennessee's at home in Knoxville. Obviously, I think they'll win. I think Tennessee will win. Tennessee's also pulling out the black jerseys. I see they got a little graphics out, the little video out. They're doing like the Venom kind of effect. Show you guys their new black jerseys or whatever. But I'm not even sure if they're really new. But they got black jerseys that they're wearing this weekend. So it's going to be a blackout game for them versus Kentucky. I think, Tennessee wins. They're the number 7 team in the country right now. 16.5-point favorite. Over and under sitting at 45 and a half. So SEC, they're 3-1. They'll probably improve to 4-1. And then all the craziness that's in the SEC right now it'll continue. So let's go over to the SEC standings. Since they got their own scenario right now where some teams are going to be pretty much battling to see, who's going to end up in that SEC championship game. Also, for the Big 12, you got BYU undefeated. They're 5-0, and you got Iowa State. They're undefeated. They're 5-0. Yo, what's good, Kingsway?
What's good, T2Y?
All right, man. Just chilling. Let me slide down to the SEC real quick. All right, so outside of Texas A&M being undefeated at 5-0, and more than likely will be 6-0 this week after they play South Carolina, as long as they win. Georgia's sitting at 4-1. Texas 3-1. Tennessee 3-1. LSU 3-1. Now everybody else got 2 losses. So let's take a look at Texas A&M's schedule. They got 3 more SEC games. South Carolina, obviously. Like I said, I think they'll win that one. Then they got Auburn. I think they'll beat Auburn. And the question is, at the end of the season, can they knock off Texas? If they knock off Texas, they'll be undefeated in conference. And I think there'll be a clear cut to the SEC championship. I think has Texas A&M ever played for the SEC championship? I gotta look that up, but that's Texas A&M's road. Now, clearly, Texas get them at the end of the year. So we don't really have to go into a scenario of how Texas get there, but I still do want to see the team that's on their schedule. Because if Texas were to knock off, Texas A&M at the end of the year, obviously, as long as they stay, undefeated in conference leading up to it, they'll basically play for the SEC championship. Unless, some other scenarios happen. But let's take a look at the rest of Georgia's schedule real quick. See if we can see somewhere where some of these guys could, match up against each other. All right. So in Georgia's scenario, they take on Florida. I think they'll win. I think they'll beat Ole Miss. But Ole Miss, Tennessee's in the mix. So obviously Tennessee is one of those teams that, got 1 loss. Georgia's one of those teams that got 1 loss. So that matchup will take care of one of them. One of those will take a second loss. So,
Hey, T2Y, you got a sec?
Yeah.
Real quick, man. I just had to, pretty much go ahead and give you your flowers because I see you been on for a little minute. I just dropped in to just say, bruh, this the first time I've been part on this channel, following you, and we beat Florida State. When I first started following you, we beat them 52-10, and then I started following you. So I ain't even get to celebrate. You feel me? So, you know, big win on Saturday, man. I seen your video. You was even out the country. I was just like, man, big dog out the country, but I know he happy, man. That was a real good win, dog. Like for real. Like, and you held it down for years, bruh, with this
I wasn't
streak
gonna,
and all, bruh.
I wasn't gonna miss out on watching it for anything. I don't know what my charge is gonna be on this phone, but man,
Appreciate you, bro. Keep doing your thing, dog. Keep supporting these Canes. We supporting with you. Through the ups and downs. There's been a lot of downs. 45-3. Last year just squeaking. They just squeaking by. To this year, we putting built their ass, dog. That was a
state
good feeling,
champions,
man.
state champions, my boy. State champs the right way. We blow out everybody in the state. We blow
Yeah,
out.
man.
Started with Florida, blow them out. What 41-17. USF blow them out. 50
Hmm.
to 15, and then FAMU blow them out like what 56-9.
Hmm.
Yeah, Florida State 36-14. Should have been 36-7, but actually could have been 40 something to 7. But it is what it is.
Real.
State, state
Did you
champ.
hear Ward at the end of the at the at halftime when he was like, "Let's take over this state." Like that man mean business, man.
Yeah, we need to go out there and beat their ass. My boy went in. Hey man, I like the attitude, man. I like. I was watching this game. I was like, this is gonna be a slow game. This is gonna be a running game for us. I didn't
Hmm.
expect him to go out there and throw like you normally do, because I know Florida State, as bad as they've been, teams haven't been really throwing the ball on them like that.
No.
They've been running the ball mainly, and then they'll catch them slipping every now and then in the pass.
Hmm.
But I knew it weren't going to be one of those games where Cam Ward just go crazy on the in the air. It was going to be on the ground. Since day one, since game one,
My bad.
and then following the next two games, watching Florida State run defense, I knew team was going to run the ball on them. I knew if you're going to get your wins, you're going to be running the ball. And I'm pretty sure, with our coaching
Oh,
staff.
I'm getting a call. Keep to
But okay, so back to the SEC though for a sec. So with Texas played Florida, Arkansas, Kentucky, and then they'll take on Texas A&M. So I think the big question is Texas versus Texas A&M, Georgia versus Tennessee. Those two games will kind of pretty much tell you what you need to know. If Georgia loses to Tennessee, you know Tennessee would have to drop a game for Texas. Oh man, because Tennessee and Texas don't even play each other, so it's a whole bunch of craziness. It's a whole bunch of craziness. If Tennessee could get a win off Georgia and Texas could get a win off Texas A&M, it's gonna be a whole bunch of drama because you'll have three teams with one loss. You can't put you know you can't put Texas A&M over Texas because Texas beat them. And Texas A&M, you got to win. You just got to win. Because if Texas beats you, then it's going to be a whole different story. And even if Texas beat you and Georgia end up beating Tennessee, then you got another 3-team deal where Texas A&M going to get left out. So Texas A&M, you got to win out, man. You win out your games, you beat Texas, you'll be in the SEC championship. If not, you're gonna have to pray some other stuff happen. I don't see Texas losing to Florida, Arkansas, or Kentucky. So, another mess. A lot of conference mess going on right now. But this weekend, I'm not gonna go over the games. Yeah, I'm gonna run through the games. I'm gonna run through the games for the Big 10 and the Big 12. I'm gonna run through those games. Not even gonna talk too much about them because obviously this show's been going on for a while now. So let's just run through the Big 12 games that got played this weekend, and the games that are coming up. All right, so week 9 in the Big 12. BYU beats UCF. Beat them 24 to 37. Basically, UCF took a loss. It is what it is at this point. BYU is 8-0. They're undefeated in conference. More than likely, it'll be them and Iowa if they both continue to win, which they don't play each other. So they'll if they stay undefeated in conference, they'll meet up and it'll be a BYU versus Iowa State in a Big 12 championship, which Nobody predicted that at the beginning of the year. Nobody even, seen these teams being as good as they are in that conference. Kansas State beats Kansas, beat them by 2, rivalry game. Kansas State is now 7-1, but Kansas is 2-6. That kind of show you their rivalry game actually, is actually kind of a rivalry game. They're not getting, the bejesus beat out on by 22. That's tough. Baylor beats, Oklahoma State. Oklahoma State had so much hype in the beginning of the season. They started out, I think, like the number 16 team in the country, and everything just went downhill. Right now, they got 5 losses. They're 0-5 in conference. Man, oh gosh. TCU improved to 5-3. They beat Texas Tech by 1 point. Texas rivalries, man. Some of these games will be good. 1-point game. TCU starting to turn their season around. They're 1 game away from bowl eligible. So, they already got 2 losses in the conference for both of these teams now. So more than likely they probably won't end up playing for no, conference championship or anything that. So right now it's, get bowl eligible. West Virginia with the win over Arizona. West Virginia improves to 4-4. They're also got 2 losses already. Arizona got 4 losses in conference. So bowl eligible, that's what they're playing for. Utah was projected to win the Big 12 and come out of that conference, go into the playoff with an automatic bid for the Big 12. And so far, total disappointment. 4-4, 1-4 in conference. What happened to the Utes? Now, this is a team that Miami takes on in 2027, if I'm not mistaken. So this will be one of those neutral field game. I think we'll play them in Las Vegas. We'll play them in Las Vegas. So, man, I'm not sure if Las Vegas is ready for Miami, but that should be interesting in 2027. But right now, Utah looks like pure trash. I think they're without Cam Rising, if I'm not mistaken. He's out for the whole season. Not that, it made a difference while he was there. Colorado gets the win. Colorado is bowl eligible, guys. Colorado is sitting at 6-2 right now. 4-8 last season. 1-11 the season before. Deion Sanders looked like he's turning Colorado around. Now, I know he got a lot of naysayers. I know he got a lot of critics. They go against the way he coached, the antics that he got going on over there and everything like that. But huge improvement, man. Colorado is now 6-2. They're bowl eligible. I don't know how many of you guys saw, Colorado turning around the way they did. I know there's a lot of Deion haters that's tough, though. And this is, man, Travis Hunter, 9 catches, 153 yards, 2 touchdowns. Shedeur Sanders, 25 for 30, 322 yards and 2 touchdowns. Man, Colorado, guys, how y'all feeling about them Bucks? Them Buffs, whatever you want to call them. 4 more games left. They're already bowl eligible. They only got 1 loss in the Big 12. Only got 1 loss now. I don't think they played. Let's see. I don't think they played BYU. If not already, if not, nope. They don't play with BYU, and they don't play Iowa State. So they would need Iowa State and BYU, one of them to take a loss. Preferably both of them to take a loss. And then, some other crazy scenario, but that's tough, Colorado. All right, so let's go into week 10. Week 10 real quick. We're going to run through this. So Iowa State 7-0, 4-0 in Big 12. They'll take on, a 5-3, 3-2 in conference, Texas Tech. They're at home. They're a 14.5-point favorite. I think it's safe to say, I don't know. I think they'll win the game. I'm not quite sure if they'll cover that spread. I'm not quite sure. Not quite sure. Now, Kansas State versus Houston. Um, I'll take Kansas State for the win. They're, obviously it's a home game for Houston, but Houston's been terrible. Don't let that little Utah win fool you guys. They've been terrible. I'll take Kansas State. Like I said, let's keep it moving. Try to run through this thing because we still got to go through the Big Ten. Now, Arizona versus UCF. Arizona versus UCF. 3-5 team, both on 3-5, both on 1-4 in conference. Terrible, both terrible. Just say it like that. Terrible. UCF is at home. They're a 6.5-point favorite. I'm just gonna take them because they're at home. Obviously, they got questions at quarterback, so I could see Arizona probably pulling the upset, but that's gonna be a tough game. It's gonna be tough to pick. It's gonna be tough. Arizona State versus Oklahoma State. Oklahoma State is at home. They're a 3-point underdog. I'm just gonna go with the favorite on that one. Don't really trust neither one of those teams, to be honest with you. TCU versus Baylor. Baylor's a 3-point favorite. I'm gonna take TCU though for the upset. I think this is one of those games where if you're a betting man and you're looking to put together a parlay of, upsets, this is one of those that you probably throw on there. But it's got to be something. It's got to be a reason for why they're picking Baylor, because Baylor has been terrible this season too. But it's got to be something that, Vegas know that we don't know. All right, let's go into the Big Ten. The Big Ten. Obviously, game of the week, guys. Game of the week this week is going to be, Ohio State versus Penn State. But let's take a look at the results in the Big Ten in week 9. So they started off on Friday night. You had USC basically beat Rutgers 42-20. Nice decisive win. Then you had Oregon knock off Illinois, beat them 38-9, improved to 8-0, 5-0 in conference. Oregon's doing pretty well. They're the number 1 team in the country right now. They're doing pretty well in the Big Ten. A lot of teams move in conference. Some are faring, better than others, especially with the extensive travel. So Oregon is one of those teams. Then you have Wisconsin, went down and lost to, Penn State. Wisconsin hung in there for a little bit in the first half, and then, Penn State started beating away at them and, pulled off the 28-13 win. Ohio State barely escapes Nebraska. Barely escaped with a win against Nebraska. Like last-minute touchdown kind of deal. Ohio State improves to 6-1. They're the number 4 team in the country, and they're 3-1 in conference. Obviously, only lost to Oregon, by 1 point. So they're still up there when it comes to the Big Ten. But as of right now, Indiana is undefeated, and so is Oregon. So if the season were to end today, it would be in the Big Ten championship. It would be Indiana versus Oregon. But we're going to take a look at that scenario too. Obviously, all these conferences right now, it's a lot of situational football for the conference championship. So we're gonna take a look at that too. Indiana beats Washington, beat them, 31-17, beat them decisively. Iowa beats Northwestern 40-14. Pretty much nothing to see there. Maryland also got blown out by Minnesota 48-23. Offense really not clicking over there, but I'm not surprised because Josh Gaddis is their offensive coordinator. And if you're a Miami fan, then you already know. If you know, you know. Michigan knocks off Michigan State, beat them by 7. Close at the half, close all the way to the end. Probably one of the best games this past weekend. Defensive game, so you might be a little bit bored if you like to watch, teams go back and forth scoring. But good game, good rivalry game. Michigan, they improved to 5-3. They're 3-2 in conference. They're just one win away from being bowl eligible. All right, so let's come on into week 10. Like I said, guys, game of the week will be Ohio State versus Penn State. That'll be on Fox at 12. So that'll kick off the same time Miami and Duke. So that'll be what I'll be watching. I'll be watching Miami versus Duke and Penn State, Ohio State. I'll be flipping back and forth to those games. Obviously, when Miami's on commercial, I'm definitely watching Miami game fully. But I'll flip to this one when we are on commercial. Kind of, get a little glimpse of what to expect if we were to make the playoffs kind of deal. Minnesota versus Illinois. Minnesota's actually a 3-point favorite against Illinois, even though Illinois is at home, even though Illinois is sitting at 6-2. Like I said, when you make those possibly upset kind of tickets, this is one of those games that you might want to throw on there. You got Illinois at home, but they're the underdog to a Minnesota team that's sitting at 5-3 while they're 6-2. So, probably throw that on a ticket for the upset. Get Illinois for the upset. Purdue versus Northwestern, 2 sorry teams, both garbage. I'll just take Northwestern for the win. Oregon versus Michigan in Ann Arbor. Oregon is a 14.5-point favorite. Michigan ain't really been Michigan this year, so, nonetheless, I still think they'll show up to play this game. I still think they'll give, Oregon a run for it. I'm not sure if Oregon's going to cover that 14.5, even though Michigan haven't really been the Michigan that, they thought they were going to be this year, even though a lot of people kind of felt like without the quarterback they would. I think they'll give Oregon a better game than 14.5. Indiana, Michigan State. Indiana goes on the road. They're undefeated. I think they'll leave undefeated. I don't think Michigan State has enough of an offense to knock them off. But if I were to go for an upset this week, more than likely this would be one of those games I'll choose. Indiana to get upset by Michigan State. I could see it happening. Not telling you guys that it will, but I could see scenarios where it does. This would be one of those games that me as a betting man, if I'm not taking the upset, then I'll just stay away from it. UCLA versus Nebraska. Nebraska's at home, 6.5-point favorite. UCLA been terrible. I'm just going to go with Nebraska. Obviously, in college football, anything could happen any week. I'm just going to take Nebraska for the win on this one. Wisconsin goes on the road to Iowa. Iowa's a 3-point favorite. They're expecting a close game, obviously. You get 3 points if you're at home, so they're pretty much saying this game is evenly matched. They both got the same record, 5-3, 3-2 in conference. So one of those games where they're just going to give it to Iowa because of home field advantage. So this is one of those games that could go either way. So if you think Wisconsin can go in there and get the win, then obviously, take them on the money line. Take them on the money line. 4-4, 2-3 in conference, Washington versus 4-4, 2-4 in conference, USC. USC is a 2.5-point favorite going to Seattle to play Washington. Washington has been terrible this season, but so has USC. This is one of those games I think could go either way, but they're favoring, USC. So this is one of those where I would stay away from, but anyways, man, those are all the games this week. Like I said, guys, game of the week or Ohio State versus Penn State. Top 4 matchup, top 5 matchup. Number 3 versus number 4. Obviously, for us Miami Hurricane fans, I think you would want Penn State to win this. Penn State would improve to 8-0. They'll give Ohio State that second loss, get them up out of there. Obvious reasons, we're looking at the playoffs, possibilities and stuff like that. So we don't want too many one-loss teams hanging around. So if Penn State could give Ohio State that second loss, that'll be great. Because in any scenario that plays out where Miami's 12-0 and don't get into the ACC championship because of situational reasons, we don't want any teams that's hanging around there with conference championships and stuff like that, like an Ohio State with one loss already. We don't need those teams hanging around. So, get those teams with 2 losses where the conversation will be Miami's undefeated and this, that, and the third, even though their schedule weren't that strong, they still undefeated. And these guys got 2 losses and stuff like that. So we don't need the 1 loss and their strength of schedule and all this, chitter chatter. And then boom, next thing you know, some crazy stuff happened. So let's just get this win. Penn State, that's what I'm rooting for. You guys, I don't think Miami fans going to root for Ohio State regardless. So, that's tough. But anyways, man, listen, appreciate you guys for tuning in. Hitting the like button, tuning in on Twitter also. I guess retweeting, liking, and all that good stuff. I appreciate those of you guys that sent the cash apps. Appreciate you guys. And, yeah, Miami versus Duke. Manny Diaz versus Mario this weekend. Clemson versus Louisville this weekend. SMU versus Pitt this weekend. Exciting week for the ACC. The Big Ten obviously got the game of the week. And, yeah. Let me check the rankings real quick. Obviously, we know Miami's number 5. We know Texas dropped 1 after struggling with Vanderbilt. But let's see how much it shook up. So pretty much in the top 10 movement, Miami moves up 1, Texas dropped 1. Tennessee stays at 7. Notre Dame moved up to number 8, 4 spots from being at number 12. Obviously, very decisive win this weekend for them. BYU 8-0. They're in the top 10 now. They moved up 2 space after beating UCF. Texas A&M moved up 4 spots after knocking off number 8 LSU. They're 7-1 and they're undefeated in conference. So Texas A&M is sitting at number 10. That rounds out the top 10. Now also, Iowa State's undefeated. They're number 11. They're actually tied at number 11 with Clemson. They're actually tied at number 11. They're undefeated. Clemson's not, so I'm just going to say they're number 11. Clemson's 12. That's tough. Actually, I think Clemson should actually be 13, and Indiana should be at 12 because Indiana is also undefeated. You got Alabama's at 14. You got Boise State 6-1. They're at number 15. Boise State is looking like they're going to be the favorite to get into the playoff, pretty much as the group of five, at large. Pack them up, man. That's tough. That's what Miami did this weekend. We packed them up. We packed them boys up. That's tough. All right, so LSU, they dropped down 8 spots to number 16. Kansas dropped the spot to number 17. They actually won, but they dropped the spot. Remember I tell you guys in college football, sometimes a win ain't just a win. It's how you win. Well, sometimes you drop when you don't win, decisively. Or you got close games with opponents that you should blow out. Pitt's at number 18. They moved up 1. Ole Miss dropped 1. SMU, they also moved up 2. Army moved up 2. Army is undefeated too, by the way. So is Pitt. Washington State, they improved to 7-1. Obviously, they're really not in a conference, but the Pac-12 is still there, or whatever you want to call it, the Pac-2 nowadays. Colorado is now ranked. They're number 23 in the country, sitting at 6-2. They're now actually ranked, so they're giving Colorado a little bit of respect. Illinois is sitting at 6-2. They're now ranked they dropped 4 spots. And Missouri, obviously, after getting blown out by Alabama, they dropped down to number 25. That's tough. All right, guys. Well, there you have it, man. Like, share, subscribe, and all that good stuff. Y'all stay tuned this weekend. Like I said, it's going to be a jam-packed week for college football. A lot of things will be decided this week. Appreciate y'all for tuning in. I'll catch y'all next time.